I was watching this video that really made me feel like inspired. It was about Jean-Michel Basquiat, who is like very famous painter in the past, like prolific. In my opinion, he's the most prolific of all time. But I'm also biased. But it was a video talking about him and how when a lot of people asked him like, how do you get these ideas of how you make these videos? And he was like, well, I take most of them. That's how he talks. I'm trying to do an imitation, but he takes a lot of ideas from books that he reads or other artists. I'm about to say content creators, but other artists that he likes, or just art that he sees on the street or something, and he adds it to him, adds his original spin, pushes away what he doesn't need, and only has like what's left. And then he polishes it, and he continues to do that. It's called stealing like an artist, and so that's what I try to practice. Well, my name is Kariuki Osodomasio. I'm first generation Kenyan American, which means that I was the first person, along with my sister, to be born in the US. The rest of my family is from Kenya. I am 22. I'm a junior at Bard College. I study economics. I am a content creator as well. And I make content about stoicism and positivity. And I love anime and I like to read. My first memories, I remember them very vividly. I remember like my fifth birthday. I remember I went to the pool. Like Kenya, when I lived there, was very different. Time went by at a different pace than it does over here. I lived on a farm because my grandparents ran a farm. My grandfather's a businessman, and my grandmother worked the farm, like managed everybody, all the people that worked there, and also like did her own work down there too. But like growing up around animals and nature, all the food that we would eat, the milk that we would drink from the cows, the pigs, the goats, the sheep, like horses, everything you could think of, we had them there. So for me, I was like very in tune and very close to nature. Well, I describe myself first as a Kenyan, but I know that because I was born here when I was a kid in Manhattan, I am Kenyan or American by citizenship, and by birth. But I always see myself. That's why I say Kenyan American, never just American. And my family's Kenyan. I say I'm Kenyan American because I cling very strongly to my Kenyan roots. I think they really do make me who I am. This is just the flag of Kenya. It has the shield here, and the different colors represent different symbolic things. The black is for the people. The white that you see lined through is for the independence. We got our independence in 1961, like December 12th, if I'm not mistaken. And then the red is for the blood that we shed in order to gain our freedom. And then the green is for the land, representing fertility and all that stuff. But lots of Kenyans, especially Kenyans that don't live in Kenya, they'll have that. Like they'll have the wristband. It's like patriotism or like remembering where you're from. In 2023, yeah, about like January, beginning of 2023, I decided that I wanted to talk about Stoicism, because I'd been very into Stoicism as a practice, as a philosophy, since I was a sophomore in high school, since I was 15. So 2 years ago, I was like, well, I might as well talk about this, something that I love, and like I'd be proud of to post this. And so it went from there, yeah. I would describe it as very informative, very genuine, very informal. Like I always make majority of my videos on the spot whenever I get a spurt of inspiration. Sometimes nowadays I usually put little notes in my phone, in my notes app, like of quotes or something that somebody said or something that I heard while listening to a podcast or reading a book that I think would make for a good hook. All I usually write down is the hook and maybe like a sentence or two about what I want to talk about. And then I will, the next day or a couple days later, or whenever I get a spark, I pull my phone out and I do the hook, which is the first thing that I write, and then I just like go from there. I usually talk about like everyday experiences, like using examples from my life, whether it's mistakes from my life or things that I've done well in my life that have helped me get better. I try to keep it very grounded. I'm always nervous when I make content, always a little bit nervous. Like there's never a point where I'm like completely 100% calm. Like I'll trip over my words and have to redo a clip. I'll like say something and then look back and say, that wasn't as good as I thought it could have been. Like I could have made this video more concise, or I could have added more information at the beginning, and then maybe people would have watched it more. But usually, I always feel like very excited. So when you're feeling happy, it feels like the world is smiling back at you. But when you're feeling sad or angry, it feels like the world is against you. Like everything is an obstacle. And you have a negative mindset, you're going to see them from a negative perspective. But when you don't let your ego control your every move. So focus on being the best you can for yourself. And when those negative days do come, because they always do, because we need them, you'll be ready to deal with them. And you won't take it so personally. It's not an attack on you.
I like that a lot, actually. Yes, I like that a lot.
You see the world as you are. Your view of the world is directly connected.
Review the words. There we go.
Your view of the world is directly connected to your state of being, the way you feel from moment to moment. So when you're feeling happy, it feels like the world is smiling back at you. But when you're feeling sad or angry, it feels like the world is against you. My goal is to end up having my content become a full-time thing. So I would like to use my economics degree to learn as much as I can about the ways of the world, the way banks work, the way businesses work, and how I can implement all this knowledge and know-how into building a business of my own through my content. You know, I would like to write books and write self-help guides for people based off of all the things that I talk about. I also have this little dream called a hoop dream, where I'd like to play professional basketball for my country, Kenya, you know, my motherland. And my real goal, my lofty goal, because you're supposed to shoot for the stars, or supposed to shoot for the moon and land on the stars, is that I would like to play in the Olympics with the Kenyan team. And I want to beat everybody. I want to be the best. I want to be like, I want to live my life like an anime protagonist, anime shonen protagonist, you know, like Goku or Naruto or whoever else, Luffy, for example. And I would like in 5 years to be a professional basketball player, a content creator, a budding philosopher, a writer, an artist, you know, in all forms that I can be. I think basketball for me is an art. I think content creation is an art. I think writing is an art. So I definitely would like to bloom as much as I possibly can. The most important thing to know about me, apart from all the little details where I'm from and my experiences, is I'm just an anime character in real life. Like I'm just an anime character manifested into reality. That's how I feel. That's how I live.